America. Horse with no name, baby. The Mexican vacation desert portion of the story. Alright.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with a bow.
How are you? Today what I'm here to tell you is the second attempt at the Mexican vacation with Ted and Annabelle as we enter the desert. Oh, yeah. And our destination is far enough away from where we start out in the desert that this qualifies as a major part of the story, baby. All right. Now, incredible as it seems, it's also subtitled The Three Amigos, because there's three of us on vacation. There's Ted and me and our best other drinking buddy, Annabelle. Now, Annabelle is a rather short little female personage, well endowed. Perhaps that helps her, I don't know. All I know is that she is the only person who could keep up drink-wise, imbibe-wise, not giving in-wise, party-wise, with Ted and I. She could keep up with us, and that's unheard of. Now, after 3 days, she might turn in an hour earlier than Ted and I, for example. But that's it, man. She kept up with us. She was a professional drinker. She was a trooper. And we respected that because once I met Ted, and he taught me how to drink, you see. I thought I was the best drinker that I'd ever met or would meet. And our first night socializing together was in Monterey, and we had about 5 beers together. And then I slapped him on the on the shoulder, and I said, "Okay, bud, nice to see you. I'm a little tired. I'm going home." And he, whoa, he grabbed my shoulder. He said, "Bartender, get me a beer." And he pulled me inside, back in the bar, and he said, "You don't understand. The reason you're tired, dumbass, is because you stopped drinking. As long as you keep drinking, there is no tired." And he picked up the bottle of beer that he had ordered and poured it down my throat. And I obligingly swallowed it. It only took a couple seconds. You know, try it instead of sipping, try pouring it. Well, gosh darn it, don't you know that he was right? I wasn't tired anymore. And we spent the rest of the night and I don't know how long continuing to start our first drinking record without being sleepy. The concept of being tired was never raised again. And so it goes. We knew that we had extra drinking abilities because forever after that first night drinking together, there was various and sundry, friends. They're still friends. It's just that they couldn't keep up. No matter who we went drinking with, they would somewhere along the line fall into the, what do you call it, ditch on the side of the road. They couldn't keep going. They went to bed. They did whatever they fell down in one manner or another. You understand what I'm saying? So Ted and I just, would leave the dead soldiers there and continue on. I mean, what? So we knew we had extra consumptive abilities just because of our experience comparatively. with our, friends. Still friends, they just couldn't compete. And as the story picks up, we're in the desert now on the Mexican vacation. Ted, Annabelle, and I, the three amigos, baby. And we had just crossed the border into Tijuana. And Ted, you see, had been on this vacation a year or so earlier. He's the whole reason we were there, because you had to go back again, and I didn't care anything about vacations. My life was a vacation. Every night, I was so tired of people. Oh, I need a vacation. Shut up. I'd get a six-pack and go home and sit in the corner and had my vacation. Woke up the next morning and was just ready to go. My life was a vacation. I could never, I got so tired of this whining about vacations. But that's before my best friend Ted said, hey, you got to see this. And only because he was my best friend and I trusted whatever he said, imbibement-wise, that I was going along on this vacation. So anyway, I had a big wad of money. I was a lifelong musician, and that means sometimes you have money. A lot of times you don't. But there are times when, oh my golly, look at that. You have a whole bunch of money. And my friend Ted's just the relentless need to go back to Bahia de Los Angeles in Mexico, vacation part 2, included me, possibly because he knew that I had this amazing bankroll of money in my pants. It was going to go one way or the other, so you might as well, drag me along. And I wasn't arguing about it. I didn't mind it. That's why he wanted me with him. We'd been drinking buddies for since we met years ago. So, I was proud to go with him. I knew my status and all that. So, let me just get a refreshment here. I used to be able to pause my camera, but I can't pause it right now. So, this is just a little moment from our sponsor, if you will please excuse. Thanks, man. That really helps. So anyway, to pass by all the other stuff, we had crossed the border into Mexico, and we were in Tijuana. And not only did Ted know from his previous vacation where Tijuana was, he knew where the Mexican Safeway was. Never heard of the Mexican Safeway? You need to expand your experience and your knowledge, because I'm telling you, there's nothing like Mexican Safeway. We pulled into Tijuana, and just a block or so over there was the Mexican Safeway, is what we call it. I don't know what the heck they called it, but it was fairly apparent that Safeway Corporation actually helped in the building of this Mexican Safeway building, because it looked just like a Safeway. It just didn't say Safeway. But, those hip to the jive could read the writing that wasn't there. It was Safeway, all right. And what a pleasant experience this is about to be. Now, we pulled into the parking lot of this Mexican Safeway. And we get out and we're stretching, getting ready for the marathon of alcohol buying in this Mexican Safeway. Because if you are hip to the jive, that's what you do when you first get there, is you buy massive amounts of whatever you can get your hands on. And we were able financially to do that. It's not like my life was that way every day, but it was that way now. It was that way with Ted, and it was that way with Enemy. We all had buku bucks, baby. So we park in the middle of the Safeway parking, of the Mexican Safeway parking lot. And as we're getting out and stretching, we saw something that we're not used to seeing just every day up here in La La Land, California, Monterey. What we saw was a Mexican half-track military vehicle. You might not, that might not be clear, so let me describe. Now, this vehicle is open air. You know, you got the driver. Hey, how are you? And on the passenger side of the driver is the shotgun. Literally. And behind the two in the front seat, there are two benches with 4 soldier paramilitary types on each side of the bench, looking in toward each other. And each one of them has a rifle loaded and ready for bear, stacked on one of their legs and ready to go. Any trouble? Maybe later. Well, that was interesting, you know, because you just don't see that type of thing up here. But we weren't in trouble. We didn't have to worry about it. We hadn't been there long enough to get in trouble. Besides, we were there doing the most important thing that tourists can do for Mexico. We were spending our bankroll, baby. There was no need for them to be arresting us now. They could possibly want to arrest us later after, you know, we had lost our money or it was stolen or, you know, whatever. But this isn't then. This is, we just arrived and we got buku bucks. So here we go. We, each of us get out. So there's 3 of us, 3 amigos, and we grab 3 shopping carts. And we proceed to wheel these shopping carts into the Mexican Safeway. And as we do that, this Mexican Safeway has a door over here and a door over here, just like up here in America. There's 2 doors. One that goes in, you know, go in or out of each one, whatever. And as the 3 of us are taking carts and going in, we happen to notice a group of about 8 or 10 young, virile Mexican males, totally ignoring us, sitting on the curb in between the 2 Safeway doors. They don't pay any attention to us, and, well, you know, why should we pay any attention to them? Hey, how are you, man? Well, that must be Mexican locals, I don't know. Who cares? It's not really, we have nothing to do with them and vice versa. For now. So, here we go. We start shopping the Mexican Safeway aisles, and we have a specific menu to fill. Our first stop is at the beer section. Not to worry, there's other sections. But the beer section starts off with Tres Equis beer, cases of Tres Equis beer. Now, Tres Equis, I believe, used to at one time be sold in America along with Dos Equis. You know, what you're used to seeing here. You know, 2 X's. No, Tres Equis is 3 X's. And the reason I believe that you can no longer familiarize yourself or acquire it up here in gringo heaven is because the American laws are such that, well, sure, we can buy Tres Equis as well as Dos Equis, but you gotta water it down if you want to call it beer. Well, since then, they've gotten hip to the jive, and they just don't call it beer. So you can sell whatever you want now. But this isn't now, this is then. So you couldn't buy Tres Equis in America at this time. Because it was just like Dos Equis, but it was wrong. So here we are with our 3 shopping carts. And the two Ted and Annaby shopping carts are ahead of me, and I'm the last in line as we pull up to the Tres Equis portion of the Mexican Safeway shelves. And so I am the recipient of both of them shoving as many Tres Equis cases of beer toward me, so I can, pile them up on, underneath, okay, sideways, as much as that shopping cart of mine could hold, that's how many cases of Tres Equis we purchased. The only thing that cut us off was my cart won't hold anymore. Well, one has to feel good about that, hey, we seen our duty and we had done it. So anyway, feeling secure in the fact that we would at least not go dry anytime soon, we moved on to Destination 2 in the Mexican Safeway, and that was the vodka aisle. It was actually just, a couple feet down from where we were. So we left this big gouge of, sorry guys, you asked the management, we took everything there was in sight. We've got to commend it to the Mexican Safeway. They didn't hide it all in the storeroom in the back. There were tons of it on the shelves, and that was an easy transfer to tons of it in my cart. Lucky us. So, then we moved to the vodka part of the aisle. And now we have, rehearsed a bit through the Tres Equis prefrontal part of the shopping trip. And now I'm still in cart number 1, but I leave that back a little bit, and I come up to Annaby's cart, and Ted and Annaby start throwing 1.75 liter bottles of vodka. And they're throwing, I'm grabbing. We had her second cart of vodka, full of vodka. You couldn't fit any more vodka into that second cart. Now, we were happy and proud with that because we can drink a lot of vodka. Well, sure, we can drink a lot of beer, but, there's a time to stop kidding around. And on the other hand, vodka was like water to us professionals. So after we finish buying the vodka, in other words, after there would no longer fit any more vodka into Annaby's cart, Ted turns around from the cart in front of us and he proceeds to make a knee dip. He says, okay, it's time to explain something. I look at Annaby and she looks at me and we look back at Ted and we say, yeah, pray tell, what the hell are you talking about? And he says, we are going to buy massive amounts of tequila, in honor of our vacation in Mexico. I mean, one has to pay one's respects. And he says, yeah, okay, great, what's the problem? And he says, not only that, not only are we going to buy massive amounts of tequila, we are going to drink it in a celebratory manner, to which I will describe and you will adhere to. Well, that didn't scare Annaby or I. I mean, you'd have to propose marriage or something to scare us. Fine, let's go. So we go 5 feet further down the aisle to the tequila section. And here we go again. This time I'm catching for Ted's cart. And Annaby and Ted are throwing them at me. Here they come. Oh my God. And once again, we didn't ever have to ask anybody to go to the back room. It was right there on the shelves, at least for a few minutes. Underneath. And so in a few minutes, Ted's third shopping cart was full of tequila. Full of tequila. You couldn't fit another bottle in there. You hear what I'm saying? We were three happy campers. So now it's time to go to the checkout stand. So I go back to the head of the wagon train and I yeah! And we go the short distance back to where the checkout lines are. Just like in America, every 4 or 5 feet, there's a line that goes to a checkout. You know, to buy your stuff. Oh, that's good. Thank you. So there we come. And just like in American Safeway, you wouldn't know that you weren't in American Safeway if you didn't know that you weren't in an American Safeway. It looked just like it. You know, what difference would there be? There was somebody in line in front of us, as you can usually expect. So I, got in line. I was the one in front of the first cart of booty. And it's at this point where Annabelle and Ted say, I can hear them talking behind me. And they're, oh, you know what? We thought of a few things more that we need. So they took off and went back to the shelves. They didn't take their shopping carts. So it's me by myself with a person in front of me. And I've gotten my shopping cart full of Tres Equis beers, baby. You couldn't fit any more Tres Equis beers on that cart. Followed by Annabelle's cart of vodka. You couldn't fit any more vodka in that cart. You would be endangering your life if you tried to put more... avalanche! No, there's an easier way to go. And behind Annabelle's cart, which Annabelle's gone with Ted now, but back in Ted's cart, it's once again full of tequila. You can't fit any more bottles of tequila into Ted's cart. That's why there was as much as there was, because we couldn't fit any more into it. So as I say, Ted and Annabelle has run off and gone to, oh, we need this, we need that. So I'm there waiting by myself in, Mexican Safeway cashier line. And as I'm doing so, now, it's the same as in America. There's another line about, 4 feet or so to my right for the person at the next checkout stand. Whatever it is, we have all gone through that. Well, while I'm waiting the short time for my turn at the cashier, up comes in between the two checkout lines. Just rather, shorter than I am. That's not unusual. Most people are shorter than I am. It might not be apparent through the lens here, but most people are shorter than I am. So, why I refer to that is because I'm waiting for my turn at the cashier, and there's the line of, customers 4 feet over, and he comes in between the two lines, and he comes up beside me, and he looks at me, and he looks back at the 3 shopping carts full of Tres Equis, vodka, and tequila. And he looks back at me and he says, if you run your... He was not speaking English. I couldn't understand a word he said. However, we were in luck because there was what turned out to be an interpreter at the line, 4 feet away. And at the other side of this gentleman, he was in between the two lines. So, to our benefit, this young, attractive lady leans in from the aisle next door, realizing that I don't understand what he said, and she leans in over his shoulder and says, "The gentleman says, if you drink that, you'll be sleeping with the angels." And I got a kick out of that, and we all got a kick out of that. And you know, I thanked her. I said, "Thanks, man. Great stuff, man." And I directed my view towards the warning party that had, you know, come up and said, "Hey, you know, don't do it." And I said, "Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. How are you? Nice to see you." He didn't know. So, anyway, that's a funny little story about the checkout stand waiting. And soon after that, sure enough, they start checking me out, and here comes Ted and Annabelle with whatever the heck they also decided they needed a hoop, whatever. So, now that we've checked out, baby, this storytelling is exhausting work. So we've checked out. We paid for 3 cartfuls of hooey. And we're going out one of the doors. You know, Safeway has 2 doors, one on each side. And as we go out the door, we're heading towards the parking lot, where the car is obviously parked. Remember the young Mexican boys that were sitting on the curb in between the 2 Safeway doors, who didn't pay us any mind and we didn't pay them any mind? Well, that was then. This is now. Now that we're coming out of the Safeway store, and we'd already done all the heavy lifting, well, almost all of it, and we had bought all our booty. Now all of a sudden, these young men are interested in us. And it's like a little gang. They didn't speak English, but they were fighting each other to get to the top of the line to assist us in getting to the car. Now, the important point to note is they weren't fighting to the front of the line when we went in, when there was always all this work to be done. They didn't want, like I say, they ignored us. But when we came out and we had the carts full and there was only one thing left to do, and that was to pile our booty into our camper and drive the heck away. All of a sudden, we are a competitive commodity. They were saying, "Get daddy." And so it turns out there's 2 of them that won this particular prize, helping us. And we thought, oh, how quaint. They're, you know, this is how it works. We had no idea. This is how you get the locals. What they want to do is to help us to load our booty, and we can give them a gratuity and be on our way. Well, kind of, but not really. That's close, but it's deceptively different. It turns out what these 2 winners of their place in line were doing was they were getting in front of our carts as we're trying to get to the van to load it. And they're, it turns out they're slowing us down, and they're doing everything they can to inhibit us from being able to finish our goal of going to the van. They weren't there to help us. They didn't want money to help us. They wanted money to let them go away. As soon as we realized that that's what the actuality was, no problemo, man. We gave them a few, you know, whatever it was, and they went away, and we loaded it ourselves, and we were, you know, kind of bastards. But still, you know, okay, lesson learned. No big deal. Now we knew what it was. You didn't pay them to help us. In this case, you paid them to go away. They were in the way, believe me. So, okay, great. And so they went away and we packed our booty, and here we are going off into the desert. We finished with the Tijuana Mexican Safeway. This is part one of that story, and we'll come back to you with part two as we actually get loaded up and get going. It's a long desert drive to our destination. We're right near the desert. You can smell the desert, but we aren't in the desert, but that's where we're going. So, nice to see you. Let's try having some fun. What do you say? Woo. So that's it. That's the Mexican Desert Story, Part 1. Nice to see you. Be good to each other. Hope you liked the first chapter. There's more to come. It's a good warning. I remember I used to, say it to my wife. She wasn't scared. So nice to see you. Here we go.
Ocean is a desert with its life underground and the perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name.